Right, 27 September 2024. And today I've got quite a lot of stories to cover, which includes everything that is happening in Zimbabwe. And Friday is a very busy news day. So today I want to start with a serious problem that is occurred in Zimbabwe, which, as you know, the Zimbabwe currency, the new Zimbabwe gold, ZIG currency, has crashed. And when I'm talking of crashing, I would like to take you back to my prediction, which I made a few months ago, that the ZIG will first of all go to 32. Then the next rate is going to be at 90. That is because currencies move the same worldwide. And there are reasons for that. And in Zimbabwe, there is a specific reason. And that is because of what we call the fake ZIG. A fake ZIG is the electronic ZIG. So the electronic ZIG is fake. It's not money. And people and shops have started rejecting the fake ZIG, or the electronic ZIG is no longer being accepted in Zimbabwe. So what shops are doing is that if you come with the ZIG, either they'll give you a crazy price, or they'll put the price in ZIG but charge you in dollars, because they'll face arrest if they don't display prices in ZIG. And yesterday, Mnangagwa has launched a hotline where if someone is selling you a product, a shop, and they don't sell it in ZIG, they'll get arrested. So let's fix that mic. I think my sound is quite low. Let's fix that mic and make sure that you can hear me clearly. So the fake ZIG hotline is here. So let me see where the fake ZIG hotline is, where you can report if someone is selling you a product which is not in ZIG. This is not a joke. This is real, and it's unbelievable. The only country in the world where you get arrested if you do not accept one of the currencies that is part of the multi-currency system. So this is terrible. You're going to see a massive reaction starting this week. You're going to see a massive reaction through the shortage of goods. I've shown you already that there's a massive shortage of goods taking place in Zimbabwe. So if you go to this website, you can make a lot of money here. Just you spend the whole day reporting people who are not. So since everyone is not accepting the ZIG, so today you just wake up and you walk around town and you start reporting people and say this one is not accepting the ZIG and this one is not accepting the ZIG. So that is the website. Sorry, it's not .com. It's .co.zw. So let's get that website correct so that you can start making money today. And the first shop that you must report is Mnangagwa's shop, because that is where they are also not accepting the ZIG over there. There's no one in Zimbabwe who's normal, who's accepting the ZIG. The ZIG is fake, especially the electronic ZIG, because they create it in the systems. So that is the website which I'm displaying for you there, whistleblower.zimra.co.zw. If you go there, you'll be able to report anyone who is using the fake ZIG or who is refusing the fake ZIG. Crazy situation taking place in Zimbabwe. And as I said, you must anticipate a big shortage of goods to take place, because this is a force matter. This was also announced by Zimra yesterday, that there is this initiative. So I'll put all these on Gambakwe. This is terrible. So anyone who rejects the ZIG, anyone who rejects swipe, they are going to go to jail, according to Mnangagwa. What a very, very crazy period we're going to go into going into December. You're going to see things you've never seen in your life. Now, let me go to my next story. And I want to appreciate the announcement of the top 50 most inspirational women. Very interesting for me. This is the top 50 most inspirational women who've been announced today, including some of the women that you know and some of the women that you do not know. they've been announced as the top most influential women. This is from the Corporate Directors Institute of Zimbabwe. And you can see women there like Anna Victoria Rujidzo, Eve Gadzikwa, Susan Makore, Natalie Jabangwe. There's a lot of women in Zimbabwe who are very influential, and I'm going to put them up for you so that you can check them out. There is a full list of these women who are doing great stuff. In Zimbabwe, with a lot of women who are very influential, who are doing very, very well. And some of the women, let me just display some of the women here so that you can see them. Messindoro here from the Dairy Board of Zimbabwe. She's one of the top 50 influential women. Then you've got Rumbidzai Matambo of DMH. She's one of the top 50 most influential women. And surprise, surprise, Tatenda Mavetera is among them. Aneta Nezuchi, Tatenda Mavetera. How is she an influential woman? I'm shocked to see Tatenda Mavetera on this list. But, well, she's there. And there are many, many women over there. I will try to get you as many of the pictures as possible. We also have the National Marketers of the Year Award that has taken place. This is an amazing competition showing all the top marketers in Zimbabwe. And I'll also put the list for you over here. This is a very interesting competition. I'll, in fact, ask one of the newsreaders to give you guys a full list. Top advert of the year, best media house, all those kind of things. Very, very interesting things that are being put out by these conferences. There's a lot of conferences and announcements, and people. Zimbabwe is doing very, very well when it comes to these things. For example, take example here, Miss Charity Chukuni, which is also one of the top 50 most influential women. So I'll give you the full list of all these people that are influential in Zimbabwe. Then I want to go to, before Grace Mnangagwa is also there, of IPEC. So IPEC has paid pensions to everyone who lost their pension in 2008. I have not received my pension, Grace Mnangagwa. If anyone here who was contributing to pensions have received their money, let me know. This week, Zimbabwe paid those people who lost their pensions. So I do not know where they got their list, and I don't know who was paid. IPEC, who led that payment. And I've been talking about this for a while. They are saying that anyone who lost their pension during that hyperinflation era, they'll be compensated. That compensation has taken place, but I haven't seen a list of who was compensated, because I was certainly one of the people who contributed to a pension at that time, or to an insurance. So these are some of the things that are happening in Zim that you actually won't know what has happened. Then I want to look at the company results. So there has been an interesting development where Innscor has almost reached $1 billion in revenue. So Innscor is one of the biggest companies in Zimbabwe, and they are in the business of selling fast foods. They are a homegrown company listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, and their revenue is almost $1 billion. That's amazing. So this is probably the biggest company right now in Zimbabwe, and you'll be able to see their results on their website. Innscor doing very, very well, and also moving into property. This is one of the biggest companies in Zimbabwe, and we've also had results from other companies. So let me check which other companies have produced results. Stanbic has produced results. Their results are in ZIG, 6 billion in ZIG. POSB has produced their results, 164 million in ZIG. So you can see the size, the difference in size between POSB and Stanbic Bank. Stanbic Bank is massive, is humongous, but I don't know who made the decision to produce their results in ZIG, because it doesn't make sense for you given that old Mutual has said that the inflation of Zimbabwe is 538%, how do you produce your results in ZIG? That means next year you won't be able to compare your results with anything else, which is a very crazy situation there by POSB and Stanbic. I'm actually surprised that these two companies have produced their results in ZIG. In fact, what I would expect companies to do from now onwards is to produce their results in US dollars, because that is a currency that you can compare with next year. Then Scott Sakupanya, when I see his name, I just think of one thing. I think of Pastor Tafmani Masaya. So Scott Sakupanya has congratulated H Metro for 15 years of publication. So H Metro has been publicizing, and the newspaper started 15 years ago. So Scott Sakupanya has congratulated H Metro newspaper, and I'm shocked by Scott Sakupanya all the time. I see his name, I think of Pastor Tafmani Masaya, who was made that in Mavuku, who are handing out flyers, and the police have been refusing to investigate the murder of Pastor Tafmani Masaya. I've personally written to the police commissioner Matanga. I've also made a release of information or protection of information application to the Parliament of Zimbabwe regarding the investigation into the murder of Pastor Tafmani Masaya. And both of these institutions have not responded to our request to see what has been happening to that investigation into the murder of Pastor Tafmani Masaya. So crazy situation in Zimbabwe. Anything can happen. If someone takes your life, it ends there. No investigation will take place as long as they're connected to ZANU-PF. Then the Twins Association of Zimbabwe founders, that is Farai Lawyer Katona and Tendai Mayor Katona, are off to Italy for the annual Twins Association meeting. There's going to be a meeting there, and you know who are the the patrons of this association, which was founded in Zimbabwe. Yeah, and then in Botswana, tomorrow, they're going to be nominating their president. You know that there's a presidential election in Botswana. So tomorrow is presidential nomination day. We're going to find out who's going to contest as the president of Botswana. And as you know, President Ian Khama is not going to be contesting. He's going to be supporting, or is the patron of the Botswana Patriotic Front, BPF. So that is the party that he's supporting. And after the elections, President Ian Khama is going to go and become a Kosi, a chief. He's going to become a chief in Botswana. He's not going to be in politics. He's going to step down from all political activities. So that is what is happening in Botswana. And what else do we have? If we look at the Zimbabwean side, we had a soccer match yesterday in Mozambique. And this soccer match was between Zimbabwe and Botswana, because Zimbabwe does not have a stadium where you can play soccer. So we don't have toilets. So Zimbabwe has to go to other different countries to play their matches there. So they played in Mozambique and they drew 1-0 in the COSAFA Cup for the under-20 team, or the Young Warriors. And that came after an equalizer. Zimbabwe scored first, and then they had an equalizer over there. It did not go well for Zimbabwe because they are not playing at home. They don't have their fans. You can see behind there, what a beautiful stadium, but no Zimbabwean fans. So no Zimbabweans over there to support their team. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I want us to recap. Then I'll come back in the evening, as usual, to give you guys a summary of everything. And I want to go back to what I said, that Mnangagwa has put in place a hotline in the face of the massive rejection of the ZIG, where if you do not accept the ZIG, if you display your prices in US dollars, or if you refuse a swipe, you are going to get arrested. And any person can now go and report people that reject the ZIG. So you are going to see a massive shortage of goods. Anticipate a massive shortage of goods taking place in the country because the ZIG cannot restock. So if a retailer buys in ZIG, when they go back to the wholesaler does not accept the ZIG, and there's no currency to replace. So that is the problem. It's a circle. And I want to reiterate and explain to you again why this is happening. When the ZIG was started, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe did not know how much was there in the old currency. So the new currency came into place, and electronically, there were so many ZIGs, but the banks did not release the ZIG at once. So they just kept them in some suspense account or some strange places, awaiting for such a time as now. So what is happening now is that banks, Eco Cash, and now One Cash, all these cash in bucks, they're dumping ZIG into the electronic market, and you have got billions and billions of fake ZIG. What I call fake ZIG is electronic ZIG that are chasing a few goods. And if you ask the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe right now, how much ZIG is circulating, they don't know, they don't have the information. Go to their website, they don't have it. And I've challenged John Mshayavanu to produce how much ZIG was there when we started, how it grew every month, and how much we have now. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe does not have the capacity, and that is the problem. So everything you're seeing right now is manipulation, and manipulation comes from the fact that we lack information, and the ZIG is going to continue to crash, and it's going to go to 90 within this month. So I said to you that it will grow first by 3, which is from 13 to 31, and then it will grow to 90, which is 5 times. You're going to see the ZIG at 90 very, very shortly. And this is going to be a disaster. You're going to see a massive disaster here in Zimbabwe. And especially given the fact that the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe lacks information. They lack information. They don't understand what is happening in the environment. And eventually, you're going to see the total rejection of the ZIG, no transaction taking in ZIG, except for poor people. People who've got nothing. Those are the only people who will be left transaction in ZIG. You know that the government of Zimbabwe does not accept the ZIG for any service. So, who is that stupid person who is supposed to accept the ZIG? So now we must go and arrest everyone in the post office, everyone at the Makombe building, everyone at every government department, because they don't accept the ZIG. That is what it means. So I do not understand this whole effort by Mnangagwa to arrest anyone who does not accept the ZIG, anyone who does not accept the swipe, because they don't accept it. So they must be arrested. Very interesting stuff that is happening in Zimbabwe, and unbelievable stuff. Then I just want to end with a community notice. Sunway City has announced that if you buy land around Sunway City and you buy it from anyone else, then it's your own fault if you lose your money. So I'll put this up on Gambakwe. Very interesting. And then there are a number of conferences that are going to take place, and I'll put them also on gambakwe.com. You can go and check them out. But what is important is that we've reached a point of collapse. Everything is going to collapse, and it's going to happen right in front of your eyes. I've been telling you about the ZIG for a long, long time. I started talking about the ZIG before it came, because the ZIG started as a coin, an asset. Then they turned it into money when the old currency collapsed. The reason why Mnangagwa put in place the ZIG is because the old currency collapsed in December, and Mnangagwa's government was just on the verge of collapsing. Now that the ZIG is going to collapse, the Mnangagwa government is also going to follow. This is clear. But this is not going to happen because of the citizens. The citizens in Zimbabwe have got no power. They're not able to protest against Mnangagwa. This is going to happen from another quarter. You're going to see something massive taking place. People cannot bear this any longer. And there are a lot of people who earn ZIG in Zimbabwe. So do not forget that there are a lot of people who earn ZIG. And these people are living on this fake currency. The fake currency called the ZIG It does not buy anything. It does not buy anywhere. And it's falling every day. So every single day, the ZIG is crashing. And it has gotten to a point where it is now being enforced through a hotline. So you start seeing arrests, people being thrown into jail once again. This has happened in the past. It's a vicious circle in Zimbabwe, and this will never end. Let me take a quick look at the comments here. Mukoma Hamid says, Gambakwe wakataura chokwadi kuti ZIG hapana kwarinoenda. Yes, I know Mnangagwa, and I know everything that Mnangagwa does. As long as it's economic, it doesn't work. We said Mnangagwa should make every transaction in Zimbabwe a dollar transaction. That's all. This will solve the problem, but they'll never do it that way. Because if they do it that way, how are they going to steal money? Then Brian saying maybe Mnangagwa is forcing banks to declare in ZIG. Maybe, but imagine if Innscor was to declare in ZIG and they've just made $1 billion. The figure will be crazy. And one said, perhaps Zimbabwe are supposing themselves by not accepting the ZIG. I'll never accept the ZIG. You remember what I said to you? The ZIG is not money. When you see it, swipe it. So I think everyone took my advice and swiped that ZIG. And that thing is fake. If you were to find out what has happened right now, how the ZIG has gotten to this stage, they have been dumping those electronic ZIGs, what we call banning. So when you talk of banning, you create an account as a bank or as an institution. Let's say EcoCash. You go then create some fake balance. Then Gambakwe sends his money from South Africa in US dollars. As a company, you turn it into ZIG. You put it into whoever I'm sending to us account, and they swipe. Then you go back to that account and you delete it in the system of the bank. That is called banning. That is happening in Zimbabwe. It's been happening for a long, long time. Banning is taking place. And it looks almost unbelievable or untrue. But the banks are fraudsters. The Zimbabwean banks are part of the fraud that is taking place. And this fraud is banning. Banning is taking place. There are so many banks in Zimbabwe. I've never seen a country with so many banks. And all these banks are competing for a small amount of customers. So they are being forced to do all these crazy economic, activities of creating money from thin air. So they create money from thin air. And if you work in the banking sector, I told you when the ZIG started, expect massive job losses. Eventually, Zimbabwe will only have 2 banks. So Zimbabwe can only have 2 banks. If South Africa has got 4 major banks, what about Zimbabwe? What's so special about Zimbabwe to have 15 big banks? That makes no sense. And that is where the problem is. And then Mkoma says, Mkoma Herbert says, we cannot cost the ZIG to crash. I don't know. Mkoma Herbert, Wikino has got no power. Wikino is no one. Wikino has got no money. The money that he was using was fronting for someone else as part of a campaign. Right, I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover here. And let's see what happens within the next week. As I said, I'll put all this thing up on Gambakwe and you'll be able to see everything that I'm saying here. And we'll also read out the top 50 most influential women of Zimbabwe that have been announced by the Corporate Directors Institute of Zimbabwe this week. So that's an amazing list of all the women that are doing very, very well in Zimbabwe. And then Koma Tafa says, I've got a tendency of skipping comments. Yes, I'm not supposed to read all the hundreds of comments. I only read the one that I stand and see. So I get comments from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'm live on all those platforms right now. So if you see me on this platform, I'm also live on other platforms. That is why you see I can skip a Facebook comment. So let me show you how it works. Mkoma Viki is on YouTube, right? And then Mkoma Tafa is on Facebook. You can see at the bottom there, right? And then let's see, you cannot put comments from Twitter. but I've got comments that I can see right now in Twitter. And then Mkoma Absom says, my garage, they're not allowed to sell in ZIG. ZIG is not money. It's crazy. ZIG is not money. ZIG is fake. And unfortunately, we're going to see a collapse of our country right in front of our eyes within a short space of time. So I'd like to thank all of you for watching and for all your support. 5 a.m. every morning and 10 minutes past 9 every day on Gambakwe. And we're going to be adding an afternoon bulletin for all the new people who are coming from Starlink in the rural areas. It's going to be amazing. And as I said, we're going to have to restructure the media. We've got all these new youngsters who are going to see us on the internet for the first time. And it's going to be very, very big. So if you're in media, this is a time for you to stand up and be counted. We need to develop our country. And that development can only come through if we've got information. So we need to produce and distribute as much information as possible across Zimbabwe. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.